And so one belonged to another officer. The first officer that was on the scene, he was from Bloomfield, and his name was Corporal Richard McNamee. He was a Bloomfield police detective and was later convicted of child molestation. This officer, Chris Flynn, supposedly committed suicide. I couldn't find a lot of detailed information on that. It said that there were 2 tips called in on this guy to the task force. And so I don't know if this is police officers that are, getting rid of these witnesses because there's some kind of police involvement. It seems even the good officers on the case, and so out of respect I won't name them, are saying that no, there was no police involvement, no police cover-up. Now, I don't know if they're just in denial or if they're part of the problem. There was an indication that perhaps the reason they're keeping this case open this many years later is so that they don't have to comment on it because, they might have to lie. Now, there was some speculation that Busch's parents had a motive to, have him killed because he was just an embarrassment. Friends of the family said that his parents didn't really care about him. They just wanted him to stop embarrassing them. But as I was looking through the information, the parents were contacted and said, no, he wasn't despondent, and friends said that he was about to get a new job and he was really excited. And I guess even some of the victims had said that this guy wasn't that bad, that he was, friendly and happy, and that it was actually Gregory Green that was the violent one. But if the parents were going to have him eliminated, I don't think they would be going around saying, oh, no, he's not despondent, because that would be, counterproductive. My best guess is that it was perhaps someone in law enforcement. Because now there was a strange thing. Well, let me backtrack just once real quick here. So, Chris Busch's mother apparently tried to bribe one of the victims, that Gunnels, with a lot of money if he would stop, quote, saying these things about her son. But I'm thinking that they purposely let Busch out of jail so that they could more easily, eliminate him. So when he was arrested in the Bowman case, him and Green, they picked up Green the day before, which would have given, Busch a 1-day head start. They did ultimately arrest him. They had Green on $75,000 bond and Busch on $1,000. And it doesn't look like it was a judge who authorized this. Someone just crossed out his original bond and penciled in $1,000. And it wasn't signed, saying who had the authority to do that or anything. And so he was out immediately. And he was frequently let off easy anyway. So I don't know if that's just coincidental. It seems like the original investigator before this Jessica Cooper was friends with the Busch family. Now, he's the one who had everybody pulling over all these gremlins for months and months, and, thousands and thousands of people were stopped. One guy said he was stopped 23 times, and there never was a gremlin in the first place. Now, I guess Timothy King was seen talking to a guy, and they were standing by a gremlin in the parking lot, but no one was in the gremlin. And then later that night, when the search party looking for Tim, the gremlin was still there, and it was covered in frost. So it had been sitting there, until 11 o'clock at night. So that clearly was not the car that was used. But this fiasco with the gremlins went on for months, and kind of took the focus off of a lot of other things. Again, that was ordered by the original prosecutor, who was friends with Busch's family. And then, so now, there was also an art dealer who, it doesn't seem like he was a pedophile, but he had, multiple affairs with both genders. And he died under mysterious circumstances. So I'm just going to throw that in there. They didn't find any kind of connection between him. And then, so just to kind of wrap this one thing up, so that the little girl case that Busch was polygraphed on, that he said he didn't do, there were apparently girls' undergarments found in Green's van, Gregory Green. And so he got many, many years in prison, and Busch just kept getting probation and different things. Now, another connection that I found is that they did find carbon monoxide asphyxia at Christine's autopsy, and that was the same as the Jane Allen case, where they said that she wasn't connected. But I found that they said that apparently they later connected her case to a motorcycle gang from... They didn't mention any arrests. And so if you look, and I'll include some maps, these parts of Michigan are like kind of on the Ohio border. Christopher Busch at least owned a motorcycle. So, it kind of leads me to wonder if there isn't still a connection there, even though they're saying that there was no connection with the Jane Allen case. Now, there was also an incident where like 30 young boys from Detroit and from this Oakland County area all filed complaints of molestation around the same time. And yet the investigators or whatever were saying, oh, well, there's no connection between this and the Oakland County cases. But two of the individuals arrested, because there were 3 originally and then a 4th person arrested later on, 2 of those were Busch and Green. And also, this former prosecutor, the one that was friends with Busch's family, he at some point said that, well, yeah, there were 30, but this is not an increase in Oakland County. So apparently, there was a lot more going on than, anyone seemed to realize. Now, when, I think it was at this time that Busch was arrested, they found ties to him and this Frank Sheldon from the North Fox Island at that arrest. And so there were magazines that Sheldon produced in Busch's possession. And then there was also some child pornography that Busch had produced that was found on the island. Also, they found Chris Busch's name on the guest list at North Fox Island. So there was definitely a connection there. And, I mean, this thing was just a huge ring. There were so many people involved, but Sheldon was the big guy with all the money. You know what I'm saying? So, clearly he was probably funding a lot of this that was going on, even though it wasn't necessarily happening on the island.